بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. One was the a'mal which the people of Iman need to focus on, and secondly the asbab, the means which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in terms of worldly asbab and means. As the people of Iman, we should prepare accordingly. That's right, he said, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare today. Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare today. It is better to look ahead and prepare than to look back and regret. Humble enough to prepare, confident enough to execute. Humble enough to prepare, confident enough to execute. So with asbab wise, وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ, that muster against them whatever you are able to prepare, whatever you can organize, plan, whatever training, whatever you need to establish, whatever practice you need to do. مَسْتَطَعْتُم, in your capacity, exhaust all avenues, exhaust all asbab, whatever is in your capacity. Do that, then you fulfilled the command, you fulfilled the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Likewise with regards to Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam, Shama'il Tirmizi, لِكُلِّ حَالٍ عِنْدَهُ عَتَادٍ, that Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam didn't just do things sporadically, spontaneously, but it was well planned and well executed. If we look at the Mu'jam, the dictionary explaining, then لِكُلِّ مَا يَقَعُ مِنَ الْأُمُورِ, whatever needs to be thought about and planned was done. كُلُّ مَا هُوَ مِنْ صَلَاحٍ وَغَيْرِ الْحَرْبِ, that in situations and whatever conditions were to come, a person utilizes whatever means is available to prepare. So even with regards to the closeness to Qiyamah, لا تقوم الساعة حتى لا تمطر السماء, that a time will come close to Qiyamah, no water, no rain will drop. وَلَا تَنْبُتُ الْأَرْض, nothing will grow on earth. قبل خروج الدجال 3 سنوات, there will be 3 years before Dajjal comes, where 1/3 of the rain will be stopped, then the 2/3, the second third, and then the last, and there will be no produce. So some ulama have said it's restricted to rain, some say that no, it's economical drought, global famine, global turmoil, global issues and problems. Whatever the meaning is, asbab wise we've been told this will come before Qiyamah. Aisha radiyallahu anha asked, فَكَيْفَ النَّاسِ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ وَعِنْدَ ذَلِكَ قَالَ شِدَادُهُ ضِعَافَهُ حَتَّى تَقُومُ عَلَيْهِ السَّاعَةُ, that يَأْكُلُ شِدَادُهُ ضِعَافَهُ, the strong people will consume, will overwhelm, will overpower the weak. They will overwhelm them, they'll take control over them, they will oppress them. So otherwise, if there is no rain and no produce, what do we need to prepare? This is on a global scale. So inferiority wise, what do I need to prepare? If the stronger will consume the weak, then I need to be strong, etc. Preparation for the coming of Dajjal, preparation for the coming and the end of the world, before Judgment Day, before the major signs of Qiyamah. So preparation is important, and not semi-preparation but full preparation. So there was a man who had a backup plan, and he hid his money somewhere, and as he was walking he was jumped by 2 muggers in an alley. So he fought, he put on some heroic resistance, but eventually it happened that he was overpowered by these muggers, these attackers, and they got to his pockets. They didn't find really much. So one of the muggers surprisingly said, "You mean you fought like a world heavyweight champion for 48 cents? You fought like this just for 48 cents? I'm amazed." So the man said, "Is that all you wanted?" He was relieved. "Is that all you wanted? I thought you were after the $500 that was hidden in my shoe. I thought you were after the $500 hidden in my shoe." So preparation properly, we shouldn't get caught in a situation where we have regrets. So if we look at the current situation globally and the halat and the conditions, the drums of war, if we are saying COVID is here at our doorstep, then before a war there's the drums, there's the sound, there's the trumpet of war. The trumpet isn't the war, it's just a warm-up, it's just the announcement. COVID was just an announcement, just a warm-up. But nevertheless, the current situation globally and transition over the last 40 or 50 years, where the average person can boast to have more than what many kings combined in the past could have had. What all the kings put together had put all their gold and all their diamonds and all their treasures and all their wealth and all their slaves together, they would not get a fraction of what an average human being on earth can have today. From luxurious travel, intercontinental, in a short space of time, you don't even feel you travel across half the globe. You in the jungles of Africa, but you could be speaking to somebody in the skyscrapers of New York in real time, seeing exactly where they are and what they are doing. So if we count all these bounties, these are ni'am and bounties to store food in freezers for such a long duration, and the list is endless. So this is the era of prosperity, healthcare beyond comprehension. The grocery store shelves are bulging. They are assortments of every type of delicacy in every department beyond comprehension. Telecoms systems fast as lightning, transportation elaborate, well maintained, managed road systems, rails, ports, airports. So if you look at human history, never ever was there a time where humanity was bombarded with such bounties. And due to this, people are populating now in the cities, the epicenter of luxury and comfort. So all of this comes with a price. What's the downside? What's the complications? What's the end game? That means that currently now less than 2% of the world's population is supplying 98%. And this structure here, this elaborate structure, needs complex systems from thousands to many kilometers away to make sure that the system runs smoothly, whether it's the shipping lines, whether it's the cargo lines, whether it's the railway, etc. Even basic thing like water travels many kilometers, and there's a lot of process involved just to get that drop of water, whether you in your house need a tap, to the pressure pumps, to the electrical power, to the processing plants. Then simple food, what factories, your vehicles, what sophisticated equipment, what components are sourced from which continents across the globe. Then in our homes, whether we get in pure water, whether the phone works, whether light comes as you just press the switch, whether your toilet flushes conveniently, whether your payment, your salary comes into your bank account and everything's done online, the garbage is collected, the house temperature, whether summer or winter, whether you're in the desert of heat or you're in the ice bowl, Temperature can be regulated across the earth. Internet connection speed beyond comprehension. So this mechanism to make sure that the world gets what they need without any glitches will come at a price. So these long chains of supply, this communication system, if it had to, this machine has to crash, then there's a big crash. So the Japanese many years ago developed a system where even the supply chain systems, the ordering systems, the factory management system. So even in a normal store in the olden days, we would just make a list and write down what the storekeeper needed and order that. Now you've got management systems where everything is ordered. So it's profiling the company, the supermarket, what are people ordering, which date they order in, where end of the month they order in more. So the stock that is in the storeroom, in the warehouse, is just exactly what is needed. So everything is to the last. All of this here, this is just one example, and we won't get into details in everything else, whether it's in the manufacturing, whether it's the farming sector, etc. But everything rotates. The focal point is when systems are running optimally. When it's optimized, then everything, the ball will move in the correct stride and flow. But when this engine stops, when the engine ceases, then everything stops. So we are more volatile, more at risk now than ever in history. So when the system is running, then the prices are low, the inventories, the stocks are available, and it is even toilet paper, any time of the year you can buy tons of it, it'll be available. But a simple thing like just tissue paper, toilet paper, not even a complete system crash, just a panic, and there's a shortage of literally every basic need, even those things that are not needed, the systems crash. Let's say there's an electromagnetic pulse, or which is called a transient electromagnetic disturbance. This energy, whether it's radiated, whether it's electrical, whether it's magnetic, whether it's electrical, whatever the source is, but this pulse could disarm an entire country. You know, there can be different circumstances which will cause the grid to go down. Hypothetically, the grid goes down, there's no power. We're just looking at one scenario. Power systems go down, there's a panic. So everybody's worried about their family. So the police, the firemen, they won't come to work. People that are doing deliveries won't come to work. People that are running these systems, the water systems, etc., they won't come because they'll be protecting their families. That's a priority. Whether even a simple windstorm knocks down power lines, there'll be nobody to repair them. Crops in the fields will rot because nobody will come to work. Nobody will be transporting them. Farmers will be dumping liters and liters of milk. Fruits will be rotting. They'll be dumped. Things which were a luxury and wealth and a means of getting rich will become a burden now for people. Animals that people are keeping won't have feed. There will be dead corpses everywhere. And if we look at an average person, he's only got food for about 1 to 2 weeks maximum. So supplies, the general person doesn't have supply for more than 2 weeks. Now need one will be water shortage, food shortage, electricity, heating, no lighting, no law enforcement agencies. All food that's in the fridges will go off. There won't be any hot water. Food, nobody can cook any food. So whatever little bit food people have, they cannot cook it unless they have gas. Until the gas ends, then there will be no replacement. The nights will go as nights, only in darkness. People in countries that are cold, there'll be no underfloor heating, no air conditioners in heat. So people will die of hypothermia or heat waves. No internet, no cell phones, no communication means, no way of knowing what's happening outside. And if you look at critical things which you need, one is your temperature regulation. Without electricity, you don't have heat. When there's no electricity, water won't come to the taps. And even people who have gas central heating systems is not going to work because it needs electricity. Water systems are dependent on electricity. Water to be purified needs electricity. So a poll, some data was collected. 50% of people said they would not survive for more than 2 weeks without electricity. And 75 to 95% of all people say that within 2 months we would prepare for death. Means almost 95% of the population would die if just the power goes. If just the power goes and the turmoil that could follow. Simple things of simple needs. Hospital would lose all emergency equipment. Doctors would be in their homes, they wouldn't go out, they wouldn't leave. People who are on life support systems wouldn't have any support. A simple thing like payment gateway, even if you have money in the bank, you would not benefit from it. You can't go to an ATM and withdraw cash. Why? No power. You cannot pay for anything. Why? No power. You could go to a store and want to buy something. Even if you get to a store with supplies, if you don't have cash, you won't able to get any food. Look at the petrol stations, garages. No fuel will be available. Why? They require pumps. So in a best case scenario, if there is no destruction, just the fact that there is no power, there'll be no fuel, no movement. If the fuel companies decide to strike, the whole entire country comes to a standstill. No income, because most of the work is computer based, electronic based. There'll be no power, no income. Simple municipal water supplies will fail. There'll be no sewage, no waste removal, no water to flush. Living in a household will become a nightmare. It will become a big nightmare. People will have to find ways for just their waste management from the sewage side. You won't be able to flush anything. There'll be, if there's a fire, no fire services. If there's an emergency, there'll be no ambulance. But just let's look at a simple basic need, water. So globally now around 1.1 billion people lack access to safe drinking water, and 2.7 billion find water difficult to access for certain times of the year. But those other 4 to 5 billion people on earth that have access to this water, who are used to a system of a ready-made water supply, they will, that's if there is a catastrophe, Allah protect us. But water shortages by 2025, 2/3 of the world's population will face water shortages. And if we look at it, a person doesn't have water. The human body is made up of 60 to 65% of water, and we need water. So a person cannot survive for more than 7 to 10 days without water. Some people, depending on their weight, etc., maximum 15 to 20 days will not be able to survive without water. Without shelter, the right heat, hypothermia, heat stroke, etc., 3 to 6 hours and a person can die. Without food, 3 to 8 weeks and a person should prepare for death. So that's just the water. So when water supplies, maximum 2 weeks gone, 95% of the populace. Another 2 months, the rest, only approximately 1% of the earth's people would survive, who are not dependent on these systems. Then disruption of food distribution, no deliveries, collapse of the law and order systems, no police, no military, nobody's coming to help. The result would be that people will panic. There'll be full-scale looting depending on where people are. Richer neighborhoods will be less compared to areas where there's a bigger populace of the lower class. And looting will not be for electronics and fancy gadgets. It will be only for food and water. First, the stores, the supermarket, the restaurants will be looted. After that's exhausted, people will start going home to home, houses, localities. They will form gangs, they will form groups, they will start regrouping. There will be a massive horde, and people in the city will not find anything. They will go outside neighboring towns. From there, they will go outside and further away. So there'll be refugees from the cities outside. Expect prison escapes, and prisoners will be common. Looting of stores where there are arms and ammunitions, so more violence. Security systems will go down. Even in the hospitals, people who are on dialysis machines, ventilators, chronic lung conditions, insulin, diabetics, medications, entire system will crash. No 911, no backup service, and preparation is important. So a global crash, and Nabi alayhi salatu salam has advised us, يوشك أن يكون خير مال المسلم غنم يتتبع بها شعف الجبال مواقع القطر, that one of the best livelihoods for people is that a man holding a person who is a believer, and he has his sheep, and he's in the mountain peaks and in the catchment areas. So the mountain tops, the catchment areas, that's the best wealth of a Muslim. So his sheep means all our provisions, whatever food provisions we need to secure. Mountain tops, so outskirts, not in the central cities locations. Catchment areas where there's water. We'll get in detail inshallah on this year. Fleeing with his religion from the trials and the temptations of this world. يَفِرُّ بِدِينِهِ مِنَ الْفِتَنِ. To protect your deen and iman, a person will flee from all these places of vice for protection for his deen. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the reality of the short life, preparing for whatever is left and preparing for the real meeting of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah give us tawfiq of making amal. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.